Smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Gutters, install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
I've been wearing prescription glasses since like 8th grade. So for 40 plus years. Prescription glasses, prescription sunglasses, always have had both. Now I've got multiple pairs of both because anytime I go into Art and Eyes on magazine, there's a great pair of frames, either regular prescription frames or sunglasses that I want to buy, that I want to get. Such a great selection. If you wear prescription eyewear or you need a great pair of sunglasses, don't go to the mall. Don't go to the chain store. Go to a place that has eyewear that's as unique as you, literally. And this is a plus when I say this. Name brands you've never heard of. Because the ones you like I used to love Revo and Persol out of Italy and Ray-Ban. It's all Chinese garbage today. Oakley, Persol, Ray-Ban, Revo, all of that stuff. Chinese, it's under the Luxottica, brand, and it's not good. It's not high quality. It doesn't last long. It's junk with the old name that used to represent quality on it. Art and Eyes has like 50, 60 brands you've never heard of. Designers from Europe, Japan, the United States, small batches. They're not mass producing this stuff. You get something from Art and Eyes, very, very unlikely you will see those glasses on anyone else. Art and Eyes on magazine, if you're serious about the glasses you wear every day, prescription eyewear or sunglasses. Art and Eyes on magazine. Google them. No brainer. You'll never go to another eyewear shop for the rest of your life. So glad I discovered these folks about 5 years ago now. Art and Eyes on magazine. Is there another eyeglass place anywhere in New Orleans? Seriously. Art and Eyes on magazine. Yeah, this huge gypsum pile. If you exit I-10, exit 177, that's LA 30, Louisiana Highway 30. It essentially is an extension of Nicholson Drive in Baton Rouge. If you exit at 177 and hook a left, you'll run right through, right by Tiger Stadium. It'll take you right into LSU's campus. Tiger Stadium on your right, the baseball stadium, softball, all the other stuff on the left, the golf course. You keep going, it'll pull you right into downtown Baton Rouge. Nicholson Drive, essentially. Louisiana Highway 30. That's about 20 miles outside of Baton Rouge. The Gonzales exit off I-10, right by the Cabela's. Exit 177. You hook a left and you go down a little ways, and then the road kind of bends around towards the right. Right past that bend to the right, maybe 5 miles in, there's this huge pile of gypsum. It was enormous when I was at LSU. It was like, wow. I mean, when I was a kid, 18, 19, 20, 21, instead of getting on I-10 like at, Dalrymple, we do something, just change of pace going back to New Orleans, take Nicholson Drive and LA 30 and get on I-10 at Gonzales. And we drive past this monster pile of gypsum, and it was just like, really? You kidding me? And then mountain bikes. Literally, probably, 5 years earlier in California, late 70s, early 80s in California taking off. But I remember being a student at LSU, and the only thing I remember, like the newspaper bikes, 1 speed, big tires, heavy duty frame, had a big basket in the front. Kids would throw newspapers. It was like a heavy duty bike, but it was 1 speed. When the mountain bike came out, I was like, wow, like a newspaper bike with gears. That's how I look, like a 10 speed. That was like the big, the racing bike 10 speed. It was like a 10 speed with a newspaper bike, heavy duty. So we're all getting mountain bikes, riding bikes back and forth to school, and they were tough. You could jump curbs. The 10 speed, you're blowing out tires all the time, potholes, hard to go over curbs. You got to stop, get off the bike, get back on. Mountain bike, you go down steps, jump stuff, just tough bikes. So we're riding. Baton Rouge was pretty good, actually, for riding. You could go by Tunica Hills, by St. Francisville, head over towards Angola. That road, Angola, what is that, LA 66, cut up towards Mississippi, go into Mississippi Pond, Mississippi, by the waterfalls. What was that called? Something Creek. Anyway, we ride mountain bikes there. You had some elevation, some relief, some up and down. We'd go out towards, it's all neighborhoods now, down Florida Boulevard, O'Neill, out that direction, and head out towards the Amite and Comite River. Like, we'd go to these neighborhoods. The neighborhood would literally dead end into the woods. We'd park there and jump the little wire and go into the woods and ride our mountain bikes there. We were always looking for something. They had a sports, what was it, 84 at LSU, like not sports foundation, like some sports, it's like an Olympics, for younger kids, for 15 to 18. Sports Federation games or something like that in Baton Rouge. LSU got like the natatorium built. They got the archery range, different tennis facility, things like that. Indoor track facility. All this stuff was built for those games that were at LSU. And then they had some things off campus that were built. And they had like a BMX track, the gate, the hills, the curves, all that. We go out there on the mountain bike. They had a cut in the fence. We get up on top of the thing right through. We didn't realize it's a BMX track. That first jump, you think you're just going to go like 3 feet in the air. That launched me like straight up, like 10 feet in the air. I had to abandon the bike. Literally, like, let go of the bike and just came crashing down on the ground from about 10 feet in the air. Thank God I was a young pup. So we're searching everywhere to get any kind of elevation, hills, trails, anything. Yeah, we see the gypsum pile. We're like, are you kidding me? Slide right through the fence, open gate, bend the gate, whatever, put our bikes in, throw the bikes over the fence, jump the fence, whatever. We're riding on this gypsum pile. Don't know what it is. Don't know if pretty much as a college student, even kind of knew, like, don't want to spend too much here. Probably don't want to time here. Probably don't want to breathe in the dust too much, but we're riding on this big old gypsum pile. Now, what I remember it being was a byproduct of making sheetrock. Some kind of byproduct of making sheetrock. And from what I was told until recently, it was nothing toxic about the material. I mean, you could almost eat it and breathe it. But what the problem is, when it rains, if it doesn't have like a containment pond and a levee system, when it rains, the runoff will get not like into a water system and cause problems, but get into like ponds and lakes, bayous, and the gypsum will cause an algae bloom. And the algae bloom and from the gypsum will absorb all the oxygen out of the water and kill all the fish and the species in that body of water. So that was like what we were told was the big problem. that this gypsum will cause an algae bloom and take all the oxygen out of the water of like a bayou, a lake, even a slow-moving river, and kill all the fish. You know, there would just be a dead body of water. That would be the only fear. Now I'm hearing has nothing to do with sheetrock, or if it did, that was in the early days. It's byproduct from making fertilizer from some rock. And the fertilizer is obviously valuable because the ratio is kind of crazy. Like the amount of fertilizer you get out of the rock, there's like 5-8 times leftover rock compared to the little bit of fertilizer you get. So you just have this enormous waste. And they just piled it up over there right off LA 30, right near Geisma Convent, right in the middle of Cancer Alley. They might as well put a big flagpole there that says Cancer Alley. So now I'm hearing it isn't, some sheetrock byproduct. It's a fertilizer byproduct from this rock. And it's a little radioactive. It's a little radioactive. That's nice to know. And you wouldn't want to really regularly breathe in the dust from that gypsum pile. But they're supposed to water it down on dry days with sprinklers and cap it so there wouldn't be any dust, put some layer of clay and soil and put some grass on top of it. The pile is so high. It's like, I've often said on this show, especially when it's cold, you could get an artificial snow maker and ski down that thing. When we had that foot of snow, 11 inches of snow about 3 weeks ago, not only do I say, is someone skiing down the high rise right now? Foot of snow on the high rise, perfect powder. You could just ski right down the high rise all the way to like the 610. It'd be like a nice 1 mile run. Seriously. Anyone skiing down the high rise? I'm like, anyone skiing on that gypsum pile in Cancer Alley on LA 30, the extension of Nicholson Drive, basically. About 15 miles from Tiger Stadium? No, this thing is, I knew it was, I was saying like 150, 180 feet. Definitely like 130 feet, like a 12, 13, 14-story building. Well, now this company, Mosaic Fertilizer, the plant in Convent, Louisiana's DEQ, very friendly to the oil, gas, and chemical industry. Whatever you want. No problem. Let them have it. It's Frankie and Johnny Furniture over at the DEQ. They're expanding the pile for the next 18 years. That monster pile of gypsum on LA 30 in Geisma, in Convent, is going to get even larger now. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, cap it with snow. Let's get some skiing in South Louisiana going. Corey Johnson with you.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Portnola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Portnola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, when I was at LSU, two things really kind of shocked me. One was the gypsum pile on LA 30. I was like, what the hell is that? I mean, when you go out to like Chef Highway, and if you see like, what is it, Recovery 1, the old New Orleans landfill, that's pretty amazing. I mean, it's a huge pile. It's, you know, there's lye and clay and dirt and grass, and it's maintained, but I mean, it's pretty damn tall. It's got to be 60, 70 feet up in the air. And when you're in flat New Orleans and flat Baton Rouge and you see that, you're like, and it's man-made, you're like, my God, it's massive. It's huge. What is that? It stands out. So the gypsum pile, even when I was at LSU, nearly 40 years ago, 35 plus years ago, I was like, my God. And they've only added to it. It's only larger, bigger, wider footprint. It peeks out. I'm telling you, you could ski down this thing. If that thing had snow on it, like it did 3 weeks ago, it might take, 90 seconds to get from the top to the bottom. It's crazy how big it is. It's gigantic. That shocked the hell out of me. And then I guess, like, what is it, the Sunshine Bridge? That I want to say Edwin Edwards had got funding for it, and they built like the superstructure, the metal structure. Looks like the kind of the old Crescent City Connection. I mean, the new Crescent City Connection looks like the old one, but it's a lot wider, bigger. Kind of the original Crescent City Connection, like 5 lanes across, basically. When I was a kid and there was only one bridge, you had 2 lanes going to the West Bank, 2 lanes coming to the East Bank, and the middle lane was the dividing line, like an emergency lane or something in the middle. You had like yellow stripes. You could fit a vehicle in there, but it's basically the dividing line. So that smaller frame bridge, kind of like the Baton Rouge, Mississippi River Bridge. They had an exact duplicate, the Sunshine Bridge, but it was crazy. You'd come to this ferry launch And you just see the superstructure sitting out in the water and no roadway hooked to it. I was in college. That just kind of blew my mind. I was like, am I really seeing this? Is this really here? It was like 4 pilings in the river, massive pilings, the big metal superstructure sitting up there. I don't even know if a roadway was built on the superstructure. But the metal frame was just sitting out in the river. Just the bridge was basically complete except for the roadway connecting to the bridge. Expand basically the entire river except a little bit. I remember just staring at that thing going, what the hell is that? That and the gypsum pile. I was like, something, not quite right going on here in Louisiana. And this was when, we were a few years into like the 40-year drought we've been on, this 40 to 45-year-old drought that we've been in. The oil and gas bust, 83, 84-ish. We still had some, took a few years for everything to fizzle out. So, at this stage, a bridge sitting out in the river by itself, the gypsum pile, typical New Orleans, typical Louisiana. But back then, we weren't so dysfunctional. We had a lot of oil and gas money. The economies were kind of big. New Orleans was growing. Like I always say, that 1980 census, in 1970, New Orleans eclipsed 1 million people in the metro. Barely over 1 million. It was like 1,050,000 people in metro New Orleans in 1970. By 1980, we were at 1.3 million. We grew by 30% in the 70s, the metro area, from 1 million to 1.3 million, like growth you'd see in Atlanta, Dallas, Houston type of thing. We were, doing that type of growth. And then the bottom just fell out. And Dallas, Atlanta, Houston, other cities, they continue to grow in the 90s, 2000, 2010s, 2020s, still growing to this day, those places. New Orleans is the same exact population in Metro New Orleans today as it was in 1980, 45 years ago. Same population in the metro. One might argue it, Corey, it's probably about 40 or 50,000 people less. Probably about 40 or 50,000 less people in the metro in 2025 than in 1980. No, just totally stagnant, zero growth, nothing. No, so back then it was just the beginning of that. We had growth. So seeing the gypsum pile and the bridge in the river, it's definitely mind blowing. Hey, the next big thing, it's about to start. We're going to get through Mardi Gras in a couple of weeks, and probably before Mardi Gras, which, by the way, 2 weeks from tomorrow. I'm guessing, and it's a guess, just going on what Oliver Thomas said, next week he will announce he's running for mayor. The announcement was supposed to come, he told me, late last year around Thanksgiving. It'll be, we'll decide one way or another, late December, right past the new year. But it never happened in late December. Maybe the terrorist attack postponed that announcement for the new year. Didn't want to, take away from that. And then nothing happened in January. And I had Oliver Thomas on the show last week and asked him, and he said within 2 weeks, he's going to make an announcement. And if you look at his social media, he is out in the public all the time, glad handing people at different events, ribbon cuttings, more so than he's ever been, in spite of what he said on the program. Like, I've always been out there. It is it's double. It's more than double. And the social media presence may be like triple, posting videos of all these places. So all things indicate that Oliver Thomas is going to run for mayor. And I'd say, I'm guessing it'll be next week, because he said it'll be in a couple of weeks before Mardi Gras. but it was supposed to be around the new year, and that never happened. I don't know if some things are popping up in polls that are, delaying things. Let's see if we get reassessed. Let's look at this again. Let's double down on that poll. Let's see if that's the truth. Can we make a dent in it if it's not positive for us? Can we get some traction there? That kind of thing. I don't know if it's that. All I do know is Oliver Thomas hasn't announced. Helena Moreno's officially in the race. No, the next big thing is the mayor's race. Helena Moreno versus Oliver Thomas, most likely. I think once we get through Mardi Gras in a few weeks, especially if Oliver Thomas announces next week, right after Mardi Gras, the Lent season, we will not be giving up politics, and that's a shame. No, if Oliver Thomas does not get in the race, it changes everything. The macro topics, the obvious topics are the economy. How do we jumpstart this New Orleans economy? Keeping crime down, although you have a huge ally in Governor Landry, so that should continue. He's on top of it like white on rice. Public education, major improvement with the charter school system post-Katrina. Post-Katrina is 20 years old now, 20 years ago. For a lot of young people, they don't even know anything about it, and they shouldn't. Later this year, August 29th, I'm not celebrating that on this show. Not going to talk about the 20th anniversary. Not going to relive it. I don't want to see the planes crashing into the towers at 9/11. I don't want to relive Katrina. Live through it. Sucked. Nothing good about it. Why would you want to relive that? People suffering and city getting crushed and the future unknown. No one wants to relive that. Anniversary, Camille or Betsy or Katrina. Come on, really? So the economy, keeping crime down, public education, after Katrina 20 years ago, public education improved dramatically. The New Orleans public school system 2005 back was just a travesty. My entire life, up until the last 20 years, it was a sad. I'd say a sad joke, but it was generation after generation after generation of New Orleans kids in that public school system not getting an education, getting ripped off. Very few schools that were educating, very few teachers that were teaching, very few principals that were managing that school. The opposite. I remember Colonel Davis. I mean, how many military people do you know that are retired from the military that go by their military rank in public? Military people are insanely proud. The righteous military people don't talk about their combat. They don't reference that they're in the military. It's almost like they downplay. It's hard to get that info out of military. I'm not military. So I have a lot of pride and respect for people that are in the military that sacrifice. And you're like, man, they did it so they could get a college education. The GI Bill, they dig foxholes on weekends to get the college education. I don't care. They're sacrificing. They get a buddy of mine's at LSU in October gets yanked out of class. He's in Iraq, I should say, Gulf War. Didn't graduate from LSU because of that. Just totally changed his life. So, no, I have a lot of respect for the military, but the military keeps it quiet. They don't spout off their rank or any of that. Colonel Davis, New Orleans school superintendent, like the resume wasn't enough because it didn't exist really. But, colonel in the military, there's my resume. I'm a military man. I'm going to get the job done. It's the opposite. Had his dad on salary as a janitor. This 72-year-old man was working, I'm not kidding you, 35 hours a day, 17 days a week, 500 days a year. It's just insane. Made $72,000 back then as a janitor. Dead people collecting checks. No, the charter school system's much better. A huge improvement, actually educating kids. But if you're going to do it, make it the best or get out of the business. Coming right back.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Yeah, the next big thing we're about to experience in New Orleans, and it's going to be for like the next 7 months. The mayor's race. Helena Moreno versus Oliver Thomas, most likely. Maybe Oliver doesn't run. I think Oliver's running. Everything points to Oliver running, except that he hasn't committed yet. And he told me last week on the show it'll happen in the next 2 weeks. That's before Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So we're 15 days out from Mardi Gras Day. This weekend, huge weekend of parades. And then it's every night. going all the way into Mardi Gras, essentially. No, this mayor's race is going to be big. Obvious things, the economy, keeping crime down, public education, like I kind of ended going into that last break. Make it the best. That should be the goal, or get out of the business. So fantastic, the charter school system. Great move from the totally broken, dysfunctional New Orleans public school system. I mean, I was talking last week with Mike Hecht about silver linings. Silver lining from the Super Bowl. Silver lining from getting the streets, everything fixed up. Silver lining and that's not a negative. The negative things like silver lining from BP oil disaster, silver lining from Hurricane Katrina. You can always come up with a silver lining. Hurricane Katrina, getting rid of 7,500, 8,000, 8,500 Orleans Parish public school employees. Everybody, teachers, janitors, principals, everybody, custodial. Didn't matter what you did, everyone was gone because there was no school system. There were no students, there were no schools, there were no people. The system was gone. And the only way you could get that system gone with civil service and all that is an abandoned city that got flooded from a hurricane. So that was a silver lining, Katrina, washing that old system away. Now, here's the great part. The people in that old system that were good, their vocation, their life's calling is to be an educator. They love kids. They care about kids. They're trying to influence kids in a positive way. The teachers, the librarians, the principals, the coaches, the custodial staff, whatever. It's all one big machine. Those people that care, that I have to be part of the educational system because that's what I do, they're in it right now if they're still around, young enough. They got right back in it when jobs were available. Now, did we bring in some young teachers from, the rest of the country? Yes, of course. No doubt. But anyone locally that wanted to get back in the Orleans Parish public school system that was good at what they do was back in it. Now, you charlatans rolling your eyes at me right now. Yeah, you jokers. I mean, you were in it for all the wrong reasons, maybe. You were a bad principal, a bad teacher. Didn't do a good job. Dead people getting paid, janitors making $72,000, broken school buildings, no AC, peeling paint, just antiquated. That's another thing. Post-Katrina with FEMA and insurance money, a couple of billion with a B, $2 billion in new public school buildings in Orleans Parish alone, not Metro New Orleans, Orleans Parish, $2 billion in new public schools. There's no city, municipality in America that's ever spent that much money that quickly on that many brand new public schools. Plus, redoing the old great buildings with great bones, making them brand new again. No, Orleans Parish public school facilities went from some of the worst in America, literally some of the worst in America, to some of the best in America. So that environment is going to automatically bump up the education level, just more enthusiastic teachers, students, everybody. And then, the charter school thing was huge. But now, got to take it up another level. Keep politics out of it. Take it up to another level. Infrastructure, an ongoing problem. My God, there's so much money, billions with a B, in cash for the next mayor. For the next mayor to spend. It's 20 years later, and there's still billions in street money for the next mayor to spend. Hell, the city hasn't spent the $42 million earmarked for the municipal auditorium. The next mayor's job is to go back to FEMA. I don't know how you even approach this. Hey, guys, you gave us $42 million. That was what was earmarked in 06, 07 post-Katrina. It's 20 years later, and our dysfunctional city hasn't done anything with the building. Can you add a 1 in front of that 42, and ideally a 2? It's probably going to take $240 million to redo that municipal auditorium. At least 142. Just absolutely crazy. No, there's so much money that the next administration, billions, will spend on roads and projects and all of that. So the basic macro stuff's pretty obvious. The not so obvious, we'll talk a little bit about that in the 5 o'clock power hour coming your way in just a second. Plus, Brett Martell from the Associated Press. Winding down the day, we're approaching 5 o'clock. How about Katie's in Mid-City? Grab a drink at the bar, fade to a table, inside or out. You could dine outside right now at Katie's in Mid-City. New Orleans specialties, big portions, great for sharing, old school. And you never know what chef, owner, Scott Craig's going to have. Might be flounder, soft shell crab, speckled trout, all kind of goodies. Iberville, corner Talamacus. It's Katie's in Mid-City. As good as it gets. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, you're right. Chilly this morning, nice and cool right now, like 56. Like I said, you could dine outside. But boy, it's going to get colder as the week progresses. By Thursday, Friday, cold snap like down to the, freezing temps. That's right, Blue Boy. You like that cold weather, huh? Well, you're going to get it. 33 on Thursday morning, 32 on Friday morning, and that's the South Shore. North Shore in the 20s. It's going to be cold this week, especially in the morning. Corey Johnson with you. Yeah, you're right. 5 o'clock power hour. Coming your way next, New Orleans and beyond. Stay put.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TF-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance, keep you cool. DM-JC.com, no spots.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Here we go. Hour number 2, known as the 5 o'clock hour. It's very powerful. But before we get going, we have to go to, I think it's pronounced La Jolla. Is it La Jolla? Here's Drew Brees. They're telling me it's La Jolla, not La Jolla. Wow. I thought it was La Jolla. Anyway, yeah, Drew Brees, you should check out his La Jolla house compound. Pretty incredible. A monster worth millions and millions and millions, because Drew Brees is worth millions and millions and millions. I think we figured out he endorses like 38 different products, 38. And then he's got, personal stake in a lot of stuff, like the sliders, Jimmy John's, the walk-ons, and then stuff like Untuck It, those crazy shirts that people buy, the Untuck It shirts. It's amazing. America, what a great country. You come up with anything, not even necessarily a better idea, just something different. You never know. You might become super wealthy with it. Anyway, no, Drew Brees is involved in a lot of stuff. I'm at like the Lowe's, and Drew Brees is on the loudspeaker at the Lowe's. He's like the spokesperson for Lowe's. Now, I think Brees is very smart, that he scrutinizes very much the people he associates with. Got to have that reputation like he has. He's like Opie from Mayberry, He's, apple pie, Chevrolet, America, that's Drew Brees. But boy, he lots of products, like 38 products. So yeah, Drew Brees is slaughtering it still. A Monday afternoon edition of the program, 5 o'clock powwow was upon us. It's chilly a little bit this morning. Warmed up somewhat. It's mid-50s right now.
And as the week progresses, like tomorrow, it'll be 49, Wednesday morning, 38, Thursday morning, 33, Friday morning, 32. Yeah, we're just going down, man. Cold to start the day. The high tomorrow is 62. The high on Wednesday is 59. The high on Thursday is 48. You see these trends, the highs going down, the lows going down. It's getting cold. And that's South Shore temperatures. North Shore, even more harsh. Hey, every day this program on radio, on television, on YouTube, the Neutral Ground with me, Corey Johnson on YouTube. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Doesn't cost a thing. It's always brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kennebra. Right on the corner, right on the price. The Car Corner, Williams Boulevard at I-10. Home of the number one Lincoln dealership in the state of Louisiana. Have you seen the Black Label Lincoln SUVs? I went out to the pad, checked them out. It was a Sunday. Lamarck was closed. I just walked on the pad and was checking out the Lincoln SUVs, from the Corsair to the Nautilus, the Aviator, the Navigator. The Black Label ones are out of control. So plush, so luxurious, top of the line, can compete with anything in the world. Black Label Lincoln SUVs. Yeah, right next door for over 45 years, the big store, Lamarck Ford. And if you need a commercial truck, van, or SUV, Ronnie and Ronnie Jr. got you covered over there at Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway. Yeah, for over 80 years, that Crescent City Ford, New Orleans Ford truck dealership. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and Lamarck Crescent City Ford. Investors to take over Joe Yeager's prized possession. Joe Yeager, of course, passing away a few months back. Just a tragic story. Pulling out one early morning out of his compound in Folsom onto the main 2-lane highway to head south to the Causeway, and got T-boned. I think Joe Yeager was just mentally distracted. So much on his plate. So much to think about, so many different situations, so many different variables, every hotel, every property, everything he owned, all different, debt, different mortgages, small, large, none at all, 90% left, just all over the place. I think he just stressed out. Joe Yeager was rolling along for decades and decades. He built his empire, a steady clip going forward. Speed bumps along the way, but he got through them. Ended up having like 20 plus properties. I always say this, never say never. And no matter how much a sure thing is, especially if you're producing like cash and making money, don't think it's going to go on forever. And I'm not saying Joe Yeager thought that way, but you own hotels, 2025 in the city of New Orleans, in the French Quarter, in the CBD. We are a convention and tourist city. They're like on cruise control. Joe Yeager hired good companies to run them, and they were, most of them, if not all of them, were very profitable. And then coronavirus crisis hits for 2 years. And there's no one traveling, especially that first year at all. No conventions, no travel. Things came to a dramatic halt. Joe Yeager's laying off staff. There's no one checking into these hotels. Yet the bank every, first of the month wants their money, their mortgage. So he strung it along as long as he could, ended up selling properties at the end, seemed to be catching his breath. And then this accident that takes his life ultimately. Joe Yeager's estate selling his prized possession. He invested hundreds of millions of dollars redoing the Jung Hotel on Canal Street. It's like a 700-room hotel, all brand new, all, I forgot the grand total. It was hundreds of millions of dollars. It was a lot of money. And it was financially viable. It was working. And then coronavirus crisis hit and crushed it. Joe Yeager's estate essentially handed the keys over to the key investors involved in that. Just take it over, guys. Can't pay the note. Not going to get back to where we were. We're too far behind. Just take it. So we'll see what happens with the Jung Hotel. When I was at LSU, mountain bikes came into vogue, the mountain bike out of California. And we were always looking for places to ride. Yeah, we rode on that huge gypsum pile over there in Convent by Geismar, right in the heart of Cancer Alley. For you folks that go to Tiger games, sometimes you'll exit at exit 177 Gonzales. And that LA 30 is essentially Nicholson Drive. It'll take you right to Tiger Stadium. Or maybe leaving Tiger Stadium. You don't go get on I-10 at College and wait through all that traffic. Or cut over to Washington and wait in all that traffic. You'll go down Nicholson for 20 miles to Gonzales and get on the I-10 there by exit 177. If you exit there and you're heading towards LSU's campus, about 15 miles short of the campus, the road basically heads out off the I-10 and then curves to the right. After it curves to the right, immediately on your right, you'll see this. You can't miss it. This huge gypsum pile. It's mind-blowing. It's like 150 feet in the air. Bulldozers working it. Well, the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, kind of an oxymoron there, is expanding the pile, letting that company, Mosaic Fertilizer in Convent, add to it and expand into other property for the next 18 years. Now, when I was at LSU, it was, hey, it's byproduct from sheetrock and it's harmless. Now it's byproduct from fertilizer manufacturing and it's a little radioactive and a little toxic. It's not harmless. Just kind of crazy, huh? Kind of crazy. A Delta jet crashed while landing at Toronto's airport. Thank God all 80 on board are all okay. Here's the crazy part. Plane flipped upside down like the wings are snapped off. Was upside down. You'll see it tonight on the news. From Minneapolis to Toronto, flipped upside down like no wings on the plane. All 80 on board are okay. Thank God. That had to be just a crazy, chaotic, insane situation. Corey Johnson with you. 5 o'clock power hour. Yeah, you right. Hey, Latrim, the global manufacturing giant, is hiring. We're in February already. Late last year, some of you were like, man, new job, new career, new year resolution. We're in February 2025. Go to the Latrim website right now. They've got a full listing of positions available, and it's not like 2 or 3 job openings, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings. In Elmwood for you East Bankers and West Bankers, on the North Shore for you North Shore folks. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeVar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City. Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. 5 o'clock powwow on a Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, I was saying the next big thing locally, once we get through Mardi Gras, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow, Mardi Gras Day, 15 days away. We're about to be lighting the fuse and just Mardi Gras parades. I mean, this weekend is where it jump starts. That, like 10 days, 11, 12 days from the Friday before into Mardi Gras really gets things going. And then, of course, the weekend before, it's a rocket ship. Anyway, 15 days until Mardi Gras. Oliver Thomas is expected to announce that he's running for mayor next week. He said on my show last week, it'll happen within the next 2 weeks before Mardi Gras. So everything points to next week. But also I say that with Oliver Thomas joining me on my show back in November saying he's going to decide after Christmas, before New Year, at worst, right after the New Year. But he didn't decide right after Christmas or before the New Year, and maybe the terrorist attack on New Year pushed things back for him. Maybe he's done some polls and didn't poll as strongly as he thought. Helena Moreno polled really well. I have no idea. But he hasn't announced yet. But if you look at his social media presence, it is multiplied by 10. He's all over social media. He's at all kind of events all the time in public settings. Someone's videotaping it and posting it. Sometimes it's him with just a video message. But it looks like someone running for office, not someone just being a regular council person. That this isn't his regular deal. All these visits, all this time in the community. He's always been community minded. This is just at an obviously higher level, multiple times higher. So everything points to Oliver Thomas pulling the trigger and saying he's running for mayor. Helena Moreno's already in. So we know the big topics, economy, crime down, public education, infrastructure. But the not so obvious ones that I think are of vital importance, I've mentioned this over and over again. We have this gem, the French Quarter. The main street is Bourbon Street, and it's a gutter. There's a reason we locals don't go to Bourbon Street. It's awful. A new mayor could really gain some, going off the grid a little bit. Of course, talking about the economy, and of course, keeping crime down, and of course, public education, and of course, infrastructure. The obvious macro items, but then getting into some specifics like, Bourbon Street. We're going to reimagine Bourbon Street. We're going to make it to where locals want to go. Locals are proud of it. Not a toilet, not a gutter. It's so much cash business. Plus, you throw in the drugs, the prostitution, the strip joints that fuel that. The city's, not seeing a lot of the real revenue. And then how about cleaning the city? Someone finally we're not going to tolerate it anymore. We're gonna go from maybe the filthiest city in America to the cleanest. That's our goal, to be one of the cleanest. And you start popping some people, especially some celebrity or type that happens to get popped for littering, and they're wearing that orange vest and they make the news. 10 hours of community service wearing the orange vest, carrying a burlap sack and that stick with the nail sticking out of the end, picking up trash. You get someone like that out there and it sends a message. No, it's a mentality with mostly locals. And there's no demo or socioeconomic that you can key in on. Black, white, old, young, grandma, little girl, public school, private school kids. It's obnoxious. People just litter around here. Bunch of, I'd say animals. I don't want to insult my dog. Just uncivilized. I don't know who raised you people. You know who you are. All different education levels. Just roll down the window and throw your trash out. No, I get it. You don't want trash in your car. Throw it on the floor of the passenger side till you get to a home or next stop, and then put it in it's called a garbage can. Jeez, it's unbelievable. People just littering around here. It's obnoxious. No, a mayor, reimagine Bourbon Street, cleanest city in America. We're gonna really crack down on graffiti, litter, dumping, all of that. Coastal erosion. One thing I can get on Jeff Landry about, never discussed it when he was running for governor, never discussed it when he won that election, never discussed it when he got into the, Capitol, the governor's mansion, and hasn't ever brought it up since. Like coastal erosion, arguably Louisiana's number one problem. We have a governor that never mentions it. And New Orleans is ground zero for it. Grand Isle is about 60 miles south of the city as far as the bird flies, 50 miles south of Metro New Orleans, Grand Isle. New Orleans, Jefferson Parish should just be dumping money into Grand Isle 24/7, 365. These rebuilding of barrier islands, that's all we should be focused on. Not all kind of coastal erosion projects, but I just mean we really should have an emphasis on that. No, these barrier islands knock down storm surge. They protect the population centers just due north of them. No, and then the marsh and the wetlands and all of that, the Mid-Barataria Diversion Project. New Orleans and Jefferson Parish folks should be freaking out about the governor wanting to stop it or just a lackluster attitude about it. These Plaquemine Parish, very few folks in Plaquemine. It's not the majority. It's a bunch of politically, connected folks and a few dozen oyster fishermen and regular fishermen, like a few dozen. Might be like 100 people opposed to this project. $3+ billion, already $500 million, 500 million spent. Don't have time for this nonsense. No, a mayor running in New Orleans, coastal erosion, rebuilding the Louisiana coast. That should be one of the New Orleans mayor's running points running for office. So those are some that aren't so obvious, like reimagining Bourbon Street, a clean city, because it can be. It's about changing the mentality of the second-rate kind of loser citizens, old, young, black, white, rich, Republican, poor, Democrat, that litter all the time. It's obnoxious. It's criminal. Have some pride in yourself, other people. Quit being so selfish. So it's such a selfish act to litter. And you're doing it. I don't get how an adult human being can throw their crap out the window or just dump trash, litter, and do that and justify it in their head. It's mind-blowing. And don't get me started on you cigarette smokers. I don't give a crap what you do. Smoke 10 packs a day. Smoke a carton a day. Smoke 5 cigarettes at a time. I could care less. Smoke away. Just don't throw your butt out in the street like it's just a little cigarette butt. All us smokers do it. Talk about litterers. Cigarette smokers are obnoxious litterers. I'd say about 90% of cigarette smokers. It's the special one that puts it out, makes sure it's not lit anymore, and puts it in a garbage can or puts it in a water bottle or something. My God, cigarette smokers are so obnoxious with the littering. I don't give a crap about. The smoke doesn't bother me. You can't smoke in bars or restaurants. Cigarette smokers go outside. You're upwind from them. It's not a problem. The problem is the cigarette smokers and their littering habit. It's obnoxious. No, littering's so selfish. So those aren't the most obvious, platform items. And some of you may be like, Corey, reimagining Bourbon Street's a waste of money. No, it's the opposite. It's a waste of money right now. We should be getting tens of millions of dollars in tax revenue from Bourbon Street alone, not the paltry amount we get right now. Cleaning the city because it's the smart thing to do. I remember this contingency of politicians and businessmen went to Chicago like 25 years ago, maybe around the 2000 turn of this century. And it was, the second generation mayor. Boy, I'm going blank. His dad was mayor and was corrupt. The son was mayor and wasn't corrupt. Anyway, man, I can't believe I can't remember his name. They went and talked to this guy and he said, doesn't matter where your city is, hot, cold, climate, on a river, not on a river, on the water, not on the water, in the mountains, in the marsh. It doesn't matter. 3 things you got to focus on. 3 things. It's universal. Make sure your city's clean. Make it as clean as possible. This guy was boarding up blight and cutting the grass on blighted properties and painting blighted properties and putting chain link fences around him, like cleaning up even blight in Chicago. So keep your city clean, make your public school system as good as it can be, and make sure your airport is state of the art. We were 0 for 3 when that contingency came back to Louisiana 25 years ago in 2000-ish. Our airport was antiquated. It was terrible. Our public school system was corrupt and didn't educate kids at all. It was a joke. One of the worst public school systems in America. No argument from anyone. And the city was filthy. So the airport was crappy, the public school system was crappy, and the city was filthy. We were 0 for 3. 25 years later, we're like 1.5 for 3. We have a brand new state-of-the-art airport. So you can check that off the list. Does it need some improvements? Sure. I mean, no cover when it rains to let people out. I mean, it's mind-blowing that wasn't, addressed. But state-of-the-art airport. Public school system, I mentioned it last hour, from the crappy system, corrupt system it was to this all-charter school, a big improvement, much better. So halfway home, still got a long way to go with that. As far as the city being clean, we're 0 for that. Dirty, filthy city like it was 25 years ago. Cleaning up the city would be a lot easier than you think. It's all about changing the mentality, and then it snowballs.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com. Your cool spot.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King. Hey, New Orleans. If you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast in the Garden District on the streetcar line. Built in 1893, this magnificent house will make your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. Every day we broadcast live from the Total Maintenance Studios, the Buddy Deliberto Total Maintenance Studios. You better have your heat working this week. Temperatures are plummeting. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be 49. Wednesday morning, 38. Thursday morning, 33. Friday morning, 32. That's on the South Shore, so even colder on the North Shore. Total Maintenance has you covered in Baton Rouge, in New Orleans, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore. Total Maintenance is there for you. Now, here's something that's real important to know when it comes to an air conditioning and heating outfit. I don't know about you. I don't want to learn about AC or heat. I just want someone I can unequivocally trust. And that's what you get with Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys. I've known Lucas for about 15 years now. We've become friends. from day one, just honest as the day is long. They are incapable of doing a service, repair, or replacement that's not absolutely necessary. So they're honest. They're air conditioning and heating experts. They diagnose it right the first time. They're not swapping out parts trying to figure it out. About 30 plus techs, 30 plus trucks, hundreds of years of experience. And they come immediately with a sense of urgency, getting your AC or heat working this afternoon, tonight. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. You can't beat Total Maintenance. Sterling reputation for 40 plus years in Southeast Louisiana. If you need heat help this week, even overnight, Total Maintenance is there for you. In New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance. tm-ac.com. That's how you find them. tm-ac.com. Brett Martell from the Associated Press is a few minutes away. He's going to join us in the problem, kind of wrap things up before 6 o'clock, find out what's going on with the Saints and Pels. Kim Mulkey's LSU Tigers losing to Texas in women's hoops, only their second loss of the season. The other one was to then number one South Carolina, who just got crushed by UConn at South Carolina. Never seen South Carolina in the last few years get demolished like that. So we'll get the straight poop from Brett Martell when you're checking out the national news tonight, if that's your jam. I got like carpal tunnel. I'll go all over the place, like 24 Fox, 29 CNN. What is it? 52 and 53 Newsmax and not One American. What is it? Newsmax and News Nation. 72 MSNBC. I mean, I go all over the dial with those. Just carpal tunneling out. Try to get a consensus. You know, wow, I'm on the liberal one. I'm on the conservative one. What's their angle? What's this? Okay, that's how they're reporting it. All right, and then you can kind of figure things out. Anyway, you will see a Delta jet upside down in the snow in Toronto. 80 people on board. I said earlier, all 80 are okay. There's some that are seriously injured. I think 19, including a child. Pretty seriously injured, but everybody's supposed to be okay. No fatalities. The plane is upside down with no wings on it. So the fact that no one was killed is absolutely amazing. A Delta jet crashed while landing at Toronto's airport, coming from Minneapolis. You will definitely see that on tonight's news. No, the next big thing locally, I mean, we had a lot we had to get through. Taylor Swift, I mean, plus timing. Taylor Swift, you know, holidays, Christmas, New Year, this damn terrorist attack, then the Super Bowl, which we pulled off like a champ. We got Mardi Gras 15 days away, Mardi Gras Day. We're in Mardi Gras right now. King cakes everywhere. 2 weeks from tomorrow, Mardi Gras Day. Oliver Thomas is expected to announce he's running for mayor next week. Basically, it's going to be Helena Moreno versus Oliver Thomas. I mentioned the big topics, the big kind of obvious things that they're going to talk about. The economy, keeping crime down, public education, infrastructure. Those are all going to be mentioned. Some that aren't so obvious and may not be mentioned at all that I think are vital. Vital. These are game changers. These are legacy projects for some mayor. You got an ego? You want a legacy? Reimagine Bourbon Street. It's a dump. It's a toilet. It doesn't have to be that way. And it's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. No, that's just a crappy, negative, second-rate attitude. The loser New Orleanian, loser Louisianian attitude. It's always been that way. It's going to remain that way. My name's Johnny the Crab. I mean, come on. Just horrible attitude. There's a reason us locals don't go down there. It's a toilet. It's a gutter. It doesn't generate the money that it should for New Orleans. It's like $20 a head. Plus you got strip joints that are just, you know, prostitution, drugs. It's ridiculous. It's a dump. Reimagine Bourbon Street. If locals would want to go down there, you've got a winner. Jazz clubs, restaurants, lit up, police presence. something that attracts a more high-end tourist, not Jimmy and his date parking the truck, walking in the quarter, getting a couple of daiquiris, walking up and down the street for a few hours, then going home. Doesn't do anything for us. Clean city. Make the city as clean as possible. The goal to be the cleanest city in America, and enforce existing laws. And people that throw litter out, you get a video of them doing it from a citizen, the license plate. You bring those people to court. You give them community service. Put on the orange vest, the burlap sack, the stick with the nail sticking out the end. Pick up trash. Keep our city clean. Now, why does New Orleans have to be filthy? It is a mentality of the people of the metro area. Could the sanitation department in the city of New Orleans or Jefferson Parish or the North Shore be better? Sure. But it is the mentality of the citizens. It's obnoxious. Honestly, when I see people just littering and it's just like obnoxious, just throwing the coffee cup out the car window onto the street. I'm like, what kind of person are you? So selfish. So selfish. It's mind-blowing. Just do not give a crap about anyone but yourself. So reimagine Bourbon Street, clean up the city, have a sense of urgency, enforce the laws, make New Orleans the cleanest city in America, not the filthiest. And then, my God, I know our governor's not talking about it, but in New Orleans, for the mayor's race, it's probably even more important than the governor in Louisiana. It's just a bigger thing than New Orleans, bigger thing than Louisiana. Coastal erosion. Coastal erosion. It mostly affects the metro New Orleans area. When you talk about Louisiana land loss, the population centers are metro New Orleans. Anyone running for mayor of New Orleans, be it Helena Moreno, Oliver Thomas, whoever, you got to mention coastal erosion. That's got to be a priority. Gonna step the governor if he doesn't want to participate and go to the federal level. Go to John Kennedy and Steve Scalise. Go to goofball Clay Higgins, these mentally deficient folks, and try to get some federal money on top of the BP money. It's America's coastline. So those are just three things that aren't so obvious that just jump out to me. That could be tremendous. Reimagining Bourbon Street, cleaning the city, and actually worrying about coastal erosion as a city, because we're the ones mostly affected by it. The city and south of us. Corey Johnson with you on a Wednesday afternoon, 5 o'clock power hour. Investors taking over Joe Yeager's prized possession, his estate. Joe Yeager passed away, sadly, tragic car accident. His estate just handed over the keys to investors to the Jung Hotel. Joe Yeager invested hundreds of millions of dollars into the Jung Hotel and was making it until coronavirus crisis, and that just crushed him. Anyway, Joe Yeager's estate hands the keys over to the Jung Hotel to investors, saying, guys, we can't pay, we can't keep up, it's yours. Hey, that huge gypsum pile in St. James Parish and Convent right by Geisma in the heart of Cancer Alley, LA 30, that basically, if you're on Nicholson Drive by Tiger Stadium, you're heading south, that's LA 30. It'll run into I-10 at Gonzales in about 20 miles. If you exit off the I-10 at Gonzales by the Cabela's, exit 177, that's LA 30. You take a left, you go a few miles, you hook around a curve to the right. Immediately on your right, you'll see this huge gypsum pile. It was there when I was at LSU over 35 years ago, and it was tremendous in size then. Louisiana's Department of Environmental Quality says they can expand that pile for the next 18 years. 18 years. Crazy. That pile is so big. When I was at LSU, that blew me away. That gypsum pile, I was just like mind blown. And then the Sunshine Bridge that Edwin Edwards had built out in the middle of the river with no roads connecting to it, like didn't have the funding for that. So it's just the steel superstructure sitting on mega, piles out in the river with no roads connecting to it. The ferry still running. I remember sitting on the levee staring at that bridge, just sitting out in the Mississippi River with boats going under. I'm like, man, only in Louisiana, huh? How long has that been sitting there? Just mind-blowing. You know, that gypsum pile's huge. Louisiana DEQ says they can expand it right in the heart of Cancer Alley. Hey, if you're tired of your dry cleaner and want to experience the best, it's easy. Young's Dry Cleaning. Since 1940, 85 years of excellence. A New Orleans institution doing you right. Young'sDryCleaning.com. Want to experience the best? Young'sDryCleaning.com. Young'sDryCleaning.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian. Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LaBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. Boy, Tracy's is there for you. You're looking for a great place that you can watch your favorite sports teams and get a good bite to eat? Tracy's is the place. Magazine at Pleasant. Caddy corner from that Bromart on Magazine between Washington and Louisiana. As I always say, too many flat screens to count. And one of the best roast beef po' boys anywhere. Want to check out your favorite sports teams? Tracy's Magazine at Pleasant. Brett Martell joins us, another Martell Monday. Brett Martell with the Associated Press. What's happening, Brett?
Well, Tracy's does definitely have one of my favorite roast beef po' boys, first of all.
Nice.
I remember when they used to be Parasols, or the Parasols crew moved over to start Tracy's when that
pretty much, yeah. Jeff had Parasols for a while, and then he went to that bigger building on Magazine down the street, Magazine at 3rd, and then moved down the block, and it's a 2-story building with a big balcony on Magazine. It's just a big improvement, bigger, better Tracy's.
Yeah, great place to watch sports and have lunch.
Hey, go ahead, Brett.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of bigger and better, Saints hire Kellen Moore. Day one, praising Alvin Kamara. He's the man. He's our starter. Every team wants an Alvin Kamara. Mentioned, Taysom Hill. Hopefully comes back. Every team wants that kind of guy too. You're looking for those players. So he's committed to Kamara, one of the best in the NFL. Love Kamara. Asking about Derek Carr, just kind of worked around it, didn't he, Brett? Just made kind of generalizations about Carr and the quarterback position, but definitely he's not committed. Did not say he's our starting quarterback. Nothing even close to that, right?
Right. It doesn't mean that he won't be the starting quarterback.
Right.
I don't think people should take his comments to mean that we're getting rid of him. I think they should take his comments to mean I'm a new coach, and I know that, Carr is 14-13 as a starter here, if I remember right, So one game over 500. And, I think he wants to see what this team has. He wants to understand the cap situation. He wants to understand a lot of things before they decide. And I also think he wants to really talk to Mickey Loomis and understand what the financial plan is with Carr's contract before committing, on his introductory press conference, just saying that Carr's definitely going to be our starter, because I think he just doesn't know. There's a lot of variables surrounding Carr, depending on, how this offseason plan goes with their personnel and their salary cap situation, and just the evaluations I think that Kellen Moore is going to have to make when he's going to rewatch, like any new coach would. He's going to rewatch every play of every game they played this past season, the all 11 coaches film, and try to identify which players he thinks fits his system the best. And he hasn't had time to do that yet.
Brett, rookie quarterbacks and success in the NFL, it just never happened. Rookie starting quarterbacks rarely happen. And if they did start because, in a few games into the season, there wasn't success there. There wasn't playoffs. They weren't winning. It just didn't happen. Now it's an entirely different ballgame. Just look this past year. DC, Denver, rookie quarterbacks, and they make the playoffs, and they're winning teams. Do you think the Saints are going to draft a quarterback? Do you think this offensive-minded coach, Kellen Moore, like Sean Payton in Denver, we've got a quarterback targeted or two out of this half dozen or so that are considered viable, and we're going to draft one and maybe make him our starter? I guess anything could happen, right?
I think that rookie quarterbacks making the playoffs is still the exception more than the rule. If you remember right, and this happened 20 years ago or so, when Michael Vick came into the league, he instantly made Atlanta a lot better. And it's because he was so dynamic, right? And he would take off and run for these crazy long touchdowns and stuff. And he was just doing all kinds of outside the box
Did Vick
stuff.
start as a rookie, though?
I want to say that he did. He started. I'd have to go look it up.
I think they had a veteran there, and Vic might have come in during his rookie season and taken over.
Maybe,
but
yeah,
I don't think he started day one.
You think Chris Chandler or somebody like that?
Something anyway, like that, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been. But all I remember is that he was stellar from the moment he took the field, and actually
dynamic.
And he turned them into way better than people thought they were going to be. But And Jaden Daniels, I think, did kind of the same thing. I still think, though, that rookie quarterbacks having instant success is more the exception than the rule.
Yes.
Partly because they're usually going to a bad team.
Yep. But boy, if a team would want Derek Carr where you could trade him, that would be incredible. But cutting him, I think, is out of the question because of the cap hit, right?
The cap hit, if they cut him, it would be like doing what Denver did with Russell Wilson. It would be a really bold move.
But Denver's wasn't the worst cap team in football at the time.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem. Is that if you cut Carr outright, then you'll have $99 million in cap room taken up by players who are no longer on the team.
Yep.
Because they have it'd be 50 for Carr plus the 40 they're already carrying for a handful of other players, including
including
Mike Thomas.
Yikes.
So they have they really it would really hamstring them. They would be in full on rebuild mode if they just cut him outright. They could designate him a June 1st cut.
Yep.
And save $30 million off the cap. Still.
Yep.
Because his base salary is $30 million. So that could help them. That's an option. I think if they were to cut him, that would be the way they'd have to do it. But I think more likely it makes sense to try to, even if they draft a rookie quarterback, to keep Carr, let him be the starter, let the rookie learn.
Yep. Hey, Brett, always a pleasure. Think about this for next week. What do the Pelicans do for the remainder of the year? What are they playing for? Why should fans be interested in this team that's destined for the lottery? Think about that question. We'll talk about it next week. Thank you, Brett. That's Brett Martell from the Associated Press. You can get that AP app or go online to the Associated Press and read all of Brett's stuff covering the region. Could be Kim Mulkey, could be Pelicans, could be Saints. Brett Martell joining us. That's Blue Boy barking up a storm. What, buddy? Tell everybody to be here tomorrow, Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Okay, buddy.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube.
Come on
radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.